All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have some breaking news to give you with regards to the terrorist attack, and that is there are reports now. Before we came back to a commercial, one of our sources sent us a correspondence who we know for a long time saying that the suspects have been arrested, that the suspects involved in the terrorist attack today in France have been arrested. Subsequently, CNN is reporting that according to the Paris deputy mayor, the suspects have been identified, and there are reports that they may have been arrested. So I'm just telling you what we are hearing. According to CNN, though, that the deputy mayor of Paris says that the suspects have been identified and that they're two brothers and another person, a third person, and the ages are 34, 32, and 18 years old. There are conflicting reports right now as to whether or not those suspects, one or all three, or any combination thereof, have been arrested. So we'll keep you abreast of this, certainly, and bring you the latest developments as they become available. Joining us now is our friend, the editor of the Weekly Standard, Bill Kristol. Hello, Bill.
Hi, how are you?
I'm okay. Not a great day again, of course, but it seems like more and more we're having not great days. What was your take on what occurred today when we woke up this morning?
Well, horrible, obviously, and depressing, and depressing to think about the pathetic reaction of, unfortunately, our administration and much of our media and the Western media over the last several years to previous attempts to intimidate and threaten, which the people at Charlie Hebdo really, they stuck by their guns and they paid an awful price. And now everyone's saying, oh, we're in solidarity with them, we stand with them. But then I read that CNN and the New York Times aren't showing the cartoons and are sort of blocking them out or whatever. I mean, it's really pathetic. Whatever you think of the cartoons, no one has to print them. There's freedom of the press not to print stuff, obviously. But when people kill or something, one really has an obligation, I think, to stand with them. And standing with them in this case, I think, would mean at least showing what the reason they were killed, showing the things for which they were killed, that they felt it was important to say. So that's gotten me very depressed, honestly. And then looking back at Jay Carney, the president's spokesman, criticizing Charlie Hebdo, I've forgotten about
well,
that.
I'm glad you brought Bill. I'm glad you brought that up because we do have that, and I want you to hear it, everybody. This is in September of 2012. Jay Carney, then speaking for the president, criticizing this very satirical magazine for printing cartoons of Muhammad. Listen and watch.
Well, we are aware that a French magazine published cartoons featuring a figure resembling the Prophet Muhammad, and obviously we have questions about the judgment of publishing something like this. We know that these images will be deeply offensive to many and have the potential to be inflammatory. But we've spoken repeatedly about the importance of upholding the freedom of expression that is enshrined in our Constitution. In other words, we don't question the right of something like this to be published. We just question the judgment behind the decision to publish it. And I think that's our view about the video that was produced in this country and has caused so much offense in the Muslim world.
And that was a reference to the Benghazi, that they said the video that caused Benghazi. How on earth does this administration think they can have it both ways? Apologizing for the Benghazi video, scolding this magazine for printing what they printed, and yet parading around thumping their chest saying, oh, freedom of speech must be protected.
Yeah, well, their freedom of speech must be protected, except if it allegedly offends people. I mean, these are hardened al-Qaeda killers who just as in Benghazi, they were hardened terrorists. They weren't offended. They weren't, decent, earnest Muslims who were deeply wounded by seeing something the way a Christian would be deeply wounded by seeing something really disrespectful and contemptuous maybe of Jesus Christ. And he might be hurt by that. He might even go picket the place or decide not to patronize it or boycott it. But the idea that that's causing people to take violence was a lie in Benghazi. It was a lie that was a terrorist attack, and this is a terrorist attack. And that, I think, is a fundamental point. And this is really a terrorist attack on the French society and the French political order. In other words, if you are a praised but just say fanatic jihadist and you go blow yourself up and blow up people, that's horrible. Obviously, people die. But in a sense, you could say, okay, maybe that's a little more psychological or lone wolf, whatever. This was an attack on a magazine that was famous because it dared to make fun of Islam and Islamism. It was an attack on a magazine that was defended by the French police for that reason. So it's really an assault on the French state, on French society, really on all of us in that respect. And in a way that, this sounds kind of crazy. Obviously, every death is equally terrible, and it's not like, you know, it's not less important if random Islamists cause suicide bombings. That's horrible too. But there's something about this that makes it more of a direct political assault on Western civilization, it seems to be. And so it really demands a strong and forceful response, even more.
Yeah, and on the screen right now we are showing some of the cartoons that that magazine did print that incurred the wrath of Jay Carney and so many others. Congressman Peter King was with us just a little while ago, Bill, and he said, you know, this just reinforces that not only in France but here we need intelligence. We need intelligence. We have to get back into the mosques, into the coffee houses where you know where radical Muslims might be gathering, and we need to see and hear what's going on. But this administration has, you know, for all intents and purposes, put a stop to that.
Yeah, the French have been quite good at that. They don't quite have our respect for civil liberties, you know, in some ways. But these people may well have come back from abroad and been trained abroad. And what that reminds us is we also need to detain and interrogate people fighting abroad and find out who they know and who they're working with. And that, of course, we've totally stopped doing as we pulled out of Iraq and are pulling out of Afghanistan and closed down not just Guantanamo, which he's releasing people from, but closed down prisons we're operating, interrogation centers we're operating elsewhere. In fact, we spent a lot of time in this administration attacking the people who are involved in these interrogation programs. So now we are, I think, much more blind than we were before to the foreign contacts of these people. The French have really historically done a very good job of trying to monitor French citizens who go abroad and come back, but it gets harder if you're not capturing people over there. To capture people over there, you have to be over there, and we're not anywhere much anymore, unfortunately, and I think I really hope we don't pay a terrible price for that.
Yeah, Bill, I'm sorry we didn't have time to get to your great piece. Folks, check out at the Weekly Standard, which of course is weeklystandard.com. Bill's piece, The More the Merrier, and you won't be sorry, and hopefully we'll have you on soon to talk about that and more pleasant things. Bill, thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure. Be well.
Take care. Bill Kristol, ladies and gentlemen. When we come back, can't wait to get his take. Dr. Ron Paul is next. Don't go away.